What's going on, folks? Brandon the Broker. I am back with another reaction video. I know I said I am not going to become a reaction channel, but I do like doing this, not anything else, but I like doing this, so I don't mind. So let's go for it. This is 30 by 40 Studio. Name of the video is Must Have Supplies for Architecture School, What You Really Need. If you are getting into architecture, interior design, structural, or civil engineering, this is one you might want to listen up to.
Before I went to architecture school, the school sent me this long list of required supplies, and I spent a lot of money on things that I actually never used. So having practiced architecture for 30 years or so, I thought it'd be fun to revisit that list of must-haves. If I had to go to architecture school again, this is what I would bring. First, let's start with the box. Back when I went to school, I brought a large trunk with me. This is the new and improved version of that. This is the Yeti GoBox 30. So
that thing is very expensive, but I will say it is also very durable. If you can spring for it, or if you are going into school from high school and you could put that on your Amazon wish list, go for it.
It's about 11 inches wide, 18 inches long, and 9 inches tall inside. And as you open it up here, you can see there's a large compartment in the bottom. It has a removable storage caddy tray here. You can actually buy an extra one of these to fit in here if you want additional organization. There's a pack attic up here, which is just a mesh pocket system. You can fit a laptop in here and various other items. There's also a removable divider that sits in the center of this, which I've taken out here, and you can sort of slide this in and out to divide the interior further if you choose. Now, what I like about this is the flexibility makes storing all of these oddly shaped tools and supplies very easy.
One thing I will say is if you're going to leave this in the studio, great. But if you're going to tote this thing from your dorm or your apartment over to the campus, you may want to invest in a hand truck because these things can get very heavy.
Before going to architecture school, it's kind of a mystery to me what the design process was, but it always starts off with documenting the context that you're going to be building or designing in. So I recommend getting a camera. If you can't afford a mirrorless camera and a wide-angle lens, using your phone is just fine. You'll be using this for site analysis, for inspiration, and to document the buildings that you're studying.
I promise you, your phone is going to be just fine. However, if you can afford a camera, do go for it. If you can't afford one, do not feel pressured to. It is no pressure to do it. So if you can't, don't worry about it. Yes, your phone is going to work just fine, but at some point, yes, you may want to invest in the camera.
Also need a 25-foot tape. 25-foot tape is something I use every day in practice as I'm measuring out how wide trim needs to be, or mounting height of a window, or verifying existing conditions. Scale and proportion are important skills that you'll be developing as an architect, and using a tape will help you do that.
You may want to get two, because trust me when I say this, you will lose one. So you may want to have a Home Depot gift card just ready for this.
The essential reading and research in architecture school these days, it's all digital, but as you progress, you'll want to build a reference and an inspiration library. And I just like having physical books nearby as I'm designing, and I also use it to reference standards. Now, as we get into the design process, documenting ideas always happens in a sketchbook. You want a sketchbook that fits in your hand, something that's portable. I like a wire-bound one because it lays flat on the desk. I like sketchbooks that have a grid, and you'll see this one has a small white reticle pattern, and all you do to sketch to scale is assign each grid a unit of measurement. So it could be 10 feet, could be 100 feet. This allows you to sketch to scale.
You may want to stock up on these if your state has what's called a holiday freeze, or whatever they call it, like back to school holiday freeze, where they suspend sales tax and stuff like that. You may want to take advantage of it then, because these sketchbooks you are going to go through. Now, if you live in Portland, The store I go to is called Muji. It's downtown right by Pioneer Square. I get all of my stuff there.
Your sketchbook is where you document all of your ideas. Of course, you'll need pens, pencils to do that. Many schools will recommend that you buy a set of fine liner inks. And actually, for inks, I only need 3. One line that's thick, and I like to use a Pentel sign pen for that. Your medium lines on the page will be done with a Sharpie ultrafine marker. And then for thin lines, I like the Pilot Precise V7 and V5. Many people don't like sketching in ink. You'll have your own preferences. If you like sketching in pencil, as I do, I like these mechanical pencils. These are Kurotoga pencils, and actually they have this mechanism at the tip that as you write, it twists the lead. So with a mechanical pencil,
I'm more of a rotating person, but these are great as well. And you can find them in a lot of good art stores.
you always have a sharp edge here. And of course, you'll want to throw in some extra leads and some erasers. A small click eraser is great for precisely erasing things on the page. If you want to add a splash of color to your drawings, it's nice having some colored pencils and markers for shading and shadow. These are Copics. These are the kind of premium choice. They're alcohol-based markers. They allow you to blend and shade and shadow on your drawings. When you're choosing colors for all of these, choose things that match with architectural materials or site colors, greens, yellows, blues, things like that. I keep it all in a pencil case, and this one's made by Bellroy. It's my favorite. It lies flat and open on your desk, and you can zip it up, keep things all organized, and the loop allows you to hook it to your backpack, easily grab it and go. Now you also want to pick up a roll of tracing paper. This is just an inexpensive translucent paper. We use this a lot in the studio. I use this as a professional every single day. It comes in a variety of colors. I prefer the white. This is meant to lay over an existing drawing and iterate and refine your designs. You'll go through a lot of this in architecture school. Now,
yes,
to
you will.
attach that to the surface of your drafting table, you're going to need some drafting dots, and because you're always changing drawings and adding things to and from your desk, having these little tabs of tape is a real handy and fast way to do that. I think one of the things I hadn't realized about architecture school is just how much you actually pin your work up on the wall and subject it to other people's review and critique. So you'll need some pins to do that, but don't be the person who shows up to crit without a set of T-pins. Now these are tools which are kind of relics of practice. The T-square, the triangle, circle templates, things like this. These are probably tools you're going to be using in school, but your school will dictate the amount of hand drafting that you're doing. So these I look on with some fondness, but they're nothing that I've used in my 30 years of practice. You will, however, need an architectural scale. You'll probably need an imperial and a metric one, depending on where you're going to school. You'll use this for model building and scaling drawings. Now, model building is something that I still actually do today in my practice. And for that, you'll need a couple of cutting implements, and I prefer the Olfa L2. This is a utility knife, and it fits nicely in the hand. Many schools will recommend you get an X-Acto knife with number 11 blades, and this is sort of a pencil-style cutting implement. I prefer this because it has these snap-off blades, so every time you snap them off, you have a fresh cutting edge. And I like to say the quality of the model is directly proportional to the number of blades that you use to create it. So always keep a sharp edge. These snap-off blades are great. You'll need some cutting edges to cut against. Popular are these cork-backed rulers, and they come in a variety of sizes. You'll want a 6, 12, 24. The one problem with these is that the blade can skip up and over, and you'll see the first aid section in the first year section of architecture school is pretty large because
Yes,
there's a lot of
it
cutting
is.
accidents. One thing to help prevent
Oh God, yes, that is very true. You are going to hurt yourself something serious, especially your first year. Second year, not so much. Your first year, yes.
that is this Illuma cutter. So this is a nice version of that ruler where you can protect your hands here. You can see it has a little lip and a ridge, which keeps the blade from skipping up and over. Add to that a set of stainless steel scissors. This is great for modifying your models in place. I showed up to architecture school my first year not having a pair of these. It's probably the most borrowed tool of my first year. Now, as you're cutting, you don't want to be cutting on your drafting table, your work surface, because that's going to create bumps in the drawings. You'll need a self-healing cutting mat. Many schools will recommend you buy a large cutting mat 36 inches wide. I like to have two smaller ones. This is a 12 by 18 and an 18 by 24. And this just allows you to put them side by side, tape them together to create a larger surface. You'll also need glue for your models. I recommend two types, hot glue and white glue.
Yes.
If you're sharing a hotel room with friends, you're also sharing a bathroom and a mirror and a tiny hair.
And white glue. I like Elmer's because it dries to a clear matte finish. It doesn't dry as quickly as something like hot glue though. So if you're trying to glue a rough cardboard model together or some wood strips, having a hot glue gun is a must. Learning to use it so that it's not messy, you can actually create some really beautiful, highly detailed models. These little model shop trays are nice for holding model materials. We have tweezers, wire cutters, clamps, extra blades, and various other rules for cutting things. This is just something you can build over time. You don't have to buy all of these things right away. Now the last couple of items here, we'll talk about technology. I use my iPad every single day. I use it to sketch and Procreate. I use it for client presentations. Might be a little bit of a splurge for a new architecture student, but learning to incorporate.
It is a splurge. Do you need a iPad? No. A tablet? Yes. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. If you do get a tablet, do not get a cheap one. Get a good one. Go get a Lenovo. Go get a Samsung. If you can afford the iPad, go get the iPad. But you would be good with a Samsung, Lenovo. Whatever you do, do not show up with a Amazon Kindle Fire. Unless you learn how to jailbreak it and you could throw on what you want to throw on, but don't show up with a Kindle Fire.
An iPad or a tablet into your workflow is going to be a skill you can really market to your future employers. Not a replacement for a laptop. I won't talk about laptops today because it's a technology that's always changing. Every school is going to have different requirements. It's probably not going to be Mac-based though. Most of the softwares that we use as architects run on a PC. Check with your school, and as you're buying a laptop, I always like to go for a slightly smaller screen if it allows you to afford a better processor, more RAM, and a better graphics card. So pay attention to those things. These are really graphic intensive programs that we run.
True.
Of course, the last thing in here is the tech pouch, and inside the tech pouch, I have a 360 camera. I have a little stand for my iPad. We have extra SD cards, headphones, all of our cables and connections. Have a battery pack here, and probably most importantly, portable hard drive. You always want to be backing up your work. You can download.
Please do bring enough cables, because I can honestly tell you somehow cables, they just always seem to walk off at the absolute most inconvenient moment. Charging bricks, you can get charging bricks. Every phone I've gotten, every tablet I've gotten, I have so many charging bricks that it's crazy. But bring at least double what you think you're gonna need, because somehow those walk off. Leave your good one at home. Bring the disposable ones. Your cords, bring the decent ones. Leave the great ones at home. If you can afford the ones that will, because somehow people have engineered it to where even a outlet can steal your data, can steal your information. Get the one that doesn't allow information to go through, just power. Yes, I know that sounds crazy, but apparently it now happens. So now that we did that video, I think we're going to do a second one as well. We are going to do architect approved gift guide. This is going to be a good one. And yes, this is
from the #1 medical aesthetic skincare brand, SkinCeuticals anti-aging moisturizers visible.
So this is more for if you want to get me a Christmas gift or a birthday gift. This is a couple years old, but it still does ring true today.
These are a few of my favorite gifts to give and receive. They're open-ended, architect approved, well-designed objects and effects, and they support creators and making. I kind of think of them as the raw materials of creative work and a good life. Even a small gift is more meaningful when we thoughtfully package it. And this one's wrapped in recycled sheets from last year's Stendig calendar and sealed up with a custom sticker. Instead of using cardboard or another material to throw away, the packaging can actually be a part of the gift. And this one's a felt Besta-Box from IKEA. Everyone can use an extra Besta-Box, right? Inside this, without question, my favorite gift items are books for inspiration, for access to new ideas, and just to have around in the studio. Books are a comfort, and I can never seem to have enough. But not everyone knows what you like, so keep a list of your favorites either at kit.co or build a wish list online. And do try and support a local bookstore if you can.
If you're looking to get me books, architecture, stuff along that line, I love it. Or also school supplies, because that shit is expensive.
Sketching is a part of every creative's process, and I recently picked up this heavy-duty canvas pencil case from Bellroy to hold all my sketching tools. And this travels with me pretty much everywhere. It easily tucks into your bag, so it's nice and portable. I like to work in a very clean workspace, and when you own nice objects like this, you don't mind keeping them out and visible on your desk. What's nice about this, the cased edges fold over so you can keep it open on the desk, and then the zipper closure kind of makes this nice handle to grab and go.
This works best if you can get it from Muji. Muji has a lot of great stuff. Blix has a lot of great stuff. The Teacher Superstore, I don't even know if they're still around. They have a lot of good stuff.
For sketching, I like mechanical pencils, and the nice ones make great gifts. Two of my favorites are the Kurutoga, which rotates the lead as you draw, so you always have a sharp point to use. And I have two of these. I have one in silver, which has 2H lead in it, kind of a harder lead for lighter lines, and then one in black with HB lead, which helps you to draw darker lines. I've also added to this a Rotring 0.7mm mechanical pencil for heavier lines. The Kurutogas are 0.5mm, this is a 0.7mm. Now the Rotrings are a little bit more expensive than the Kurutogas, but all of these have metal barrels, and importantly, that's what gives them the right weight in.
Rotring is one of those that a lot of people are going to swear by if you can get it for them. Yes, it's a little more on the pricey side, but it's one of those that person will love you forever.
And throw in some spare lead and one of these Tombow click erasers for some precise erasing, and you have a set of nice, long-lasting tools. Now the case is a perfect size to hold a set of 12 colored pencils, and I like this palette by Derwent because they mimic architectural and natural materials, woods, earth tones, grass, metal, glass. These are great for adding just a little bit of color to your sketch. And because these are a bit thicker than normal, you want to carry a sharpener that works with thicker pencils. So throw in an M&R 604. For sketching, this is a new sketchbook I designed called Trace. The pages are a luxe, heavyweight 90-pound vellum with a white reticle grid printed on the reverse side of each page. It takes graphite, colored pencils, ink, and markers beautifully with no...
I actually did get one of these. Someone got me one for my birthday last year. But if you don't want to get this, I do like the Muji one. I know I keep mentioning Muji. I love Muji. Maybe over the summer, I'll go ahead and do a Muji store, whatever, a Muji store tour in Portland. But I do love those. Moleskine are also really good.
Bleed through, including Copics, which can be a problem with sketchbooks. And because it's translucent, you can use it for iterating ideas or layering on top of existing drawings you've done, just as you would a roll of tracing paper. A set of Copic markers is a real luxury, and neutrals are a personal favorite of mine, like this set of warm grays. They're double tipped with a square barrel that's really easy to hold, and this one includes a colorless blender for fades and transitions. You'll love using these on vellum and trace. Rounding out the gift are a few simple accessories. This is a small box of Japanese incense, and I burn this in the studio each morning. It's beautifully packaged. Each stick lasts only about 10 minutes.
Incense are cool, but I am more of a candle person, and I know Vigilante show, yeah, we gas candles. Your mom's a hoe.
Which is just enough to scent the room. And it comes with this beautiful small metal holder molded after a Tokyo street cobble. Add to that a handful of specialty paper clips. This is something I keep an eye out for as I'm traveling in stationery stores, but I think a found object is just as good. And for the end or middle of the day, your choice, this bottle opener by Firm and a locally brewed beer make a perfect pairing.
True. Very true. Now, not in the middle of the day, but I don't drink anymore, but every once in a while, I do love to have just one.
And because you'll need more wrapping for next year's gifts, throw in a timeless classic, the Stendig wall calendar for yourself. Designed by Massimo Vignelli in 1966, this one never goes out of style. As the year draws to a close, I know for many of you, this hasn't been an easy one. Sending you my humble thanks for your support and for returning here when I make new things, even if that's not as often as I'd like. Wishing you peace and good health in the new year ahead. Cheers, my friends.
Well, thank you very much. Go like and subscribe to 30 by 40 Design Workshop. He's a really cool guy, very knowledgeable guy. And if you want, you can like and subscribe to my channel as well.